Me and my so since then it's like his English is getting better.
No such thing as a life that's better than yours.
애틀랜타 조지아 주에 있는 풀카운트입니다. 저번에 쇼케이스 준비하러 왔을 때부터 계속 여기로만 왔어요.
네, 이 코치나 트레이너분들 봤는데 굉장히 사람들이 참 다 좋으시네요.
네, 정말 저 영어 배울 수 있게 옆에서 많이 도와주시고
네.
저한테 너무 말하고 싶으면 한국말을 저한테 좀 배워갖고 기본적인 뭐 몸, 손, 발, 어깨 뭐 이런 거
네.
팔꿈치 다 외워갖고 저한테 설명해 주셔서 언어가 잘 안 돼도 잘 배울 수 있는 것 같아요.
사실 이제 이렇게 그때 우리가 인터뷰했을 때는 이제 공식 발표 나기 전이었었잖아요.
네.
이후에 어땠어요? 발표 난 이후에?
제가 생각했던 것보다 축하를 많이 받았고 주변 분들 많이 응원해 주셨던 것 같아요. 너무 멋있다고 다. 네, 다시 한국 오지 말라고 미국에서만 하고 오라고.
네.
네, 다 그랬어요.
지금 연습하는 부분이 이전에 쇼케이스 준비했을 때랑은 또 어떤 좀 차이가 있을 것 같은데 어때요?
네, 그때 쇼케이스 준비할 때는 그 당시에 안 되던 부분만 최대한 빨리 고친 거였고 지금은 이제 앞으로의 폼을 약간 만들고 있어요. 레그킥을 아예 없앴고요. 제가 불필요하게 막 하려던 동작들 안 해도 되는 동작들을 다 없애고 있어요 지금.
그게 이제 지금 과정 중인 거예요?
네, 지금 앞으로도 저는 뭐 스프링 캠프도 있고 마이너리그에서 시작이기 때문에 계속 차근차근 만들어가고 있어요.
아, 그래. 진짜 얼마 안 남았어요. 한
네.
달도 안 남았네요.
네.
네, 많이 설레이고 기대도 되고 이럴 것 같은데.
이제 진짜 거의 한 달밖에 안 남았으니까 약간 진짜 실감도 나고 되게 기대도 되고 약간 어떻게 보면 또 여기 미국에 와갖고 야구 잘 안 될 땐 또 약간 힘들기도 한데 또 이제 그것도 어떻게 이겨낼지가 또 저의 숙제인 것 같아요.
네. 지금 가장 안 되는 부분이 어떤 부분이에요?
우선 잘 될 때는 되게 좋은데 미국이랑 한국이 문화가 많이 틀리다 보니까 한국은 안 되면은 코치가 이제 뭐 남겨두고 뭐 운동을 더 시키고 알려주고 그러는데 여기는 제가 마음이 없으면은 코치가 안 잡기 때문에 그런 부분에서 좀 적응이 좀 필요한 것 같아요.
지금 아까 AP가 계속 뭐 얘기했던 부분이 뭐예요?
제가 이제 처음 왔을 때 안 좋은 습관이라 했던 부분들이 이제 손이 높고 이게 준비할 때 배트가 계속 흔들린다고 말을 했었는데 많이 좋아졌는데 오랜만에 치거나 이제 저 스스로 무의식적으로 그렇게 안 좋은 동작들이 나오는 것 같아요.
이런 선수는 되겠다. 가능성이 더 많겠다. 기본적인 이 재능은 있는 것 같아요.
네.
그래서 좀만 더 잘 가다듬으면 코리안 메이저리그 또 이렇게 한 획을 그을 수 있는 선수가 될 수 있을 것 같아요.
우선 너무 영광이고요. 너무 감사해요. 그냥 추신수 선배님에 비하면 아무것도 아닌 선수인데 그렇게 관심 가져주셔서 정말 감사해요.
여기 지금 코치분들한테 정말 고마운 부분 있을 것 같아요. 이 두 분.
두 분? 우선 저 AP, 이 마이젤 코치 둘 다 제가 이제 여기 홈스테이 하면서 라이드, 차가 아직 미국에서 없어갖고 자유롭게 못 다니는데 항상 운동 올 때나 갈 때나 같이 피가 와갖고 저 데려가면서 밥도 먹고 하면서 얘기도 많이 하고 정말 감사해요.
My name is AP.
I'm Aaron Mizell. Kind of what we do is we run programs for various ages and levels of players, all the way from the youth level up to the professional level. It covers basically a lot of the surrounding high schools, along with professional players that are from here, and some that come in from different places like Wamba.
Joey Bart for sure. Who else? We got Curtis. And all of our minor league guys, from Kobe to Trey to Skyler to Cam, all those guys are just up and coming now. But they're putting in the work to make a name for themselves. Big for what we consider like a 17, 18-year-old high school kid here. Super coachable, very athletic, but coachable. That's probably like the number one thing. He wasn't afraid for me to like dive into changes right away. He never said no. his bat speed and the way he coiled into the ground was ridiculous.
I mean, from a baseball level, you're looking at especially the power. The swing and where it was to begin with was already great. So you're thinking we just have to make it better. But outside of baseball, just somebody that you wanted to work with because he's a positive ray of energy, and that was fun to be around. I think from a younger age, generally what you're working on is instilling just the basics. Young kids are fun to work with because they're almost like a raw canvas. You can look pretty quickly at mechanics and say, this is what's wrong, you know, this is how you fix it, and generally they're like a sponge and they just soak up the knowledge. So that's kind of just what you're looking at, is instilling the basics so that when they get older, they're able to handle the game better.
1000%. 1000%. As far as just like mechanically and like when it comes to like the breakdown of actually trying to make somebody successful as a hitter, I would say bat path is number one, which is very important just because it represents the idea of efficiency. Like, but then more importantly, like the other stuff that I like slot, sequencing, pivot points, and a lot of that with me has to do with like, does the kid understand first? Because one example is definitely not going to work for just 100 people. Some days where the swing is gonna look good on camera, but it's gonna have weird result, and there's gonna be days where you're smacking the ball, but the video doesn't show it, and that's where it's like, it's got to be perfect timing. I think with a kid.
Definitely, I think one of the first things we worked on would have been hand position at go.
Yes.
Just trying to, like you said earlier about bat path, trying to get the bat path cleaner. His entry into the zone was a little too downward versus being on, trying to get the barrel on plane a little earlier. And that kind of leads into probably working on some lead arm stuff. After that, probably the way he loads has been a big one,
yes.
Right?
He used to have a big coil, but I know that's popular. He used to have a big coil, and then that would take him into like pushing his hands, and I hate push. I think it's the worst thing ever taught. But it works because there's pro guys that do it. But besides hand positioning, lead arm was really big. We have this funny thing we say to each other, like umbrella, which is just a different word for turning the barrel backwards. And then deceleration on the front side, understanding shoulders down, and no rolls. Everybody in Korea needs to learn no rolls. Everybody. It's game changing. I was happy. I was excited. I did celebrate with him. We got crazy. But like, that turned quick because the job's not done. But I think Mizell was just as pumped, like probably even more than me.
Yeah, I mean, anytime a kid, you know, especially because he's hard to you know, easy to overlook that he's still a kid, you know. He's in here working with guys that are older than him, but anytime a kid realizes a dream, especially for someone who's worked as hard at it as he has and taken such a big, it was awesome for him, especially because the guy is. Get to look at it and say, that's awesome. He's getting a dream realized, but we see it every day, so it's nothing but pure joy for him, for sure. I think when you're trying to evaluate someone and what they can be in the future, you have to look at not just who they are, but the tools, unfortunately, because, I mean, there are some people that can work as hard as they ever will work, and they just can't make it to the highest pinnacle of baseball or sports, but maybe something else is their thing. Well, baseball is Wombin's thing. He's a five-tool type player. We saw that at the showcase. We saw it pretty quickly after we hit with him the first couple times, and I mean, I've been out there throwing with him on the field, and honestly, this is a very diverse place. We have people from all walks of life that come in the door. I mean, AP and I are from two very different areas of the country and the world, but it kind of just works, you know, because everyone's welcome here, and I mean, Wombin's a great example of that.
It was the welcoming, but like to go to war almost mentally with the changes, and then little by little, it was more of like, okay, what's going on with you? Like, tell us a little bit about yourself. And then he started opening up, and now we have like awesome combos through this app. I mean, yeah, the dude's he's one of us now, for sure, for sure. To be honest with you, I think it's the mindset. As much as I would like to keep jumping in, I think it's more of him understanding, like, mentally he's got to stay confident the way he is now. He needs to have fun, and he needs to find a way to make sure he understands, like, it's him versus him, because it's easy, like, especially here playing baseball, because with hitting, it can be so up and down. You just got to learn how to ride the middle.
A lot of it will come with experience. He's about to go out and do something that he's done a million times, but he's going to do it with a new jersey, in a new environment around a bunch of different people. You know, he'll be walking around the complex and he'll see the big leaguers over there doing stuff, which will be for him, you know, maybe a little eye-opening, you know.
So number one, probably to always remember that the timing is always going to save him as far as just what he wants to do on and off the field. And what I mean by timing is not just like timing his forward move, but like timing the opportunity to tell himself like, I got to stay on point. I'll also tell him no matter what, he's got to remain happy. The best way to understand like the balance between on and off the field, he's got to control his mindset. To be honest, he's just got to understand the long-term goal and like the waves. There's going to be a bunch of waves. There's no like advice for that. You just kind of need to go through it, and then you got guys like us right here for you. So we're a phone call away.
I would tell him outside of baseball just to have fun and enjoy it. I mean, I know it's a grind. Professional baseball is long. You'll have days where it's just awesome, and then you'll have days where it's going to be very tough. But all in all, I think especially something to send him off with is just that I know AP and I are really proud of him and what he's already accomplished. And I mean, really, we've built such a close relationship with him. You know, we love him. Memories we'll look back on when he's playing in the big leagues, you know, and hopefully we'll still be helping him then. But yeah, we're proud of him.
A friend of mine, Kobe, who actually is in here now, he told me, hey, come on over. There's a facility not too far from where I live, and come hit. It's open. We have people that throw. We have machines. They have basically everything I could ask for here, and this is convenient for me. And I've been blessed to have this facility and have them let us come in. Yeah, so I've actually been catching since I think maybe since I was 12. So it's been a while. What happened actually is in the summer here in Georgia, it gets really hot. And the catcher on our team had diabetes, and he could only take so much without his sugar getting low. So really, I just jumped in and said, hey, I can do it. Why not? You know, I'll try. And that's kind of how it came to be. I just really use the off season as a time to work, and we train uncomfortably. You know, we make it challenging for us because ultimately that's what's going to get us better. So I've been training hard. I've been running for an hour, lifting for an hour, catching, hitting, doing a lot of work, you know, getting ready for the season. And that's what correlates to, you know, hopefully having a good spring and a good season. Yeah, you really just get to talking about hitting and taking tips and watching people work, you know, and watching what they do and routines. Everyone in here is a really good player, regardless of how high they've made it through the minor leagues or college. Like, it's not easy to get to where they've gotten, but you can always take tips and pick up on things from other players that you could put in your arsenal and use. I really like him. I think he's a really hard worker, very talented. You know, I mean, I can only imagine, you know, being that strong and that physical at 18 or however old he is. So, but the few things that I've talked about are just some things to do with his swing and his routine and you know, but realistically, I mean, he works hard, and there's not a whole lot of things that he's ahead of the curve. You know, now he's going to have to go play, and he's a great kid. I'm very excited to follow him. It's an awesome feeling. It's something really to growing up, to playing and traveling. Like, once you get there and you realize like you've made an accomplishment, you know, but at the same time, there's still a long road ahead to try to stay there and compete and be really good. But you know, to wear the Giants stuff, to play at Oracle Park, to have the fans, and it's really, you can't get much better. Across the big leagues, it's the same way, but it's really important out in San Francisco, baseball and the community there, and the way the fans support the players. So it's really an unbelievable. It started in Scottsdale in spring training. You could see how they're good fans. So that's something that us players with the Giants throughout the minor leagues and the big leagues can't take for granted. I think there's a little more anxiety, yeah. Just trying to really show your teammates, you know, that you're there for the right reason and that you want to work hard and do everything right, you know. This is the biggest, the best, these are the best players, so you want to present yourself the best way you can. And I think that was the the learning curve for me. I feel like I did a good job, but you know, at the same time, it's a real situation. You have to go in there, you have to be respectful, you have to know where you stand, and young players, sometimes they do well with that and sometimes they don't, you know, so you just hope you're one of the ones that did it the right way. Buster, he's great. I mean, he was always there for his teammates, you know, and it seemed like he never did anything wrong, you know. I mean, he had a perfect career. He was very good on the field, very good off the field, and he's a really good friend of mine. So he's the ultimate pro, you know. He just always watched him, watched how he did things, watched how he took care of himself, and that's really the most you can get out of the situation. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's a connection, you know. It's just like a comfort feeling, you know, of having, you know, a tie to someone or an area and something to talk about. So yeah, it was always a pretty cool. I think the chemistry and the relationship you have is really the most important thing. You have to be confident with each other and trust each other, and that comes over time. You know, nothing comes fast, but there's not a better feeling of getting back there with a pitcher that trusts you and you feel comfortable with. I just go up and compete, really. I mean, I try to keep it simple. You try to be prepared and observant of what's going on around you, what happened when you're on deck, or how the game's been going. But really, at the end of the day, you got to get in there and you got to prepare and feel comfortable about, you know, is just be myself and trust my preparation, you know, and hopefully have a great at-bat. Oh, Woonbin, oh man, just keep working hard. Stay with your work, have fun, always have fun playing this game. It's really hard. You're gonna find a lot of tough nights and tough days, but your whole life playing baseball, that's really what it comes down to. Just staying consistent and not having too many, you know, highs and lows. You really have to stay even keeled through the whole process and just keep working. And before you know it, you know, you might be playing for the Cardinals in the big leagues, you know, and that's where we're all rooting for you. And I'm excited and that you come and work out here and that you got around a group of players that support you. Thank you for supporting the Giants, and maybe I'll get to meet you soon.